Hello, everyone. Welcome to Introduction to Education, EDUC 1101, Section 02. My name is Dr. Stacy Gilpin. You can call me Dr. Stacy or Stacy, and I'm thrilled to be teaching this course to you all at Normandale Community College. About 30 years ago, I too took an Introduction to Education course at a community college, so it's almost like it's full circle for me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a quick overview, some nuts and bolts about our course, and then I'll talk about what we'll be doing in Module 1. And then what you should expect from me is we're going to be running um, 8 2-week modules in our course. The last module in December will be about 3 weeks long. And the reason I do that, I've been doing that, I've been teaching I was a special educator at one time for many years, an administrator in K-12 schools, special education director. And I've also been teaching, like I said, in higher ed, these kind of courses for a long time. And I find that if we try to, for example, we've got a 16-week course roughly, if we try to stack 16 modules, that becomes a lot for everyone to manage because I know likely this isn't the only course you're taking, and it's also not the only course I'm teaching. So when we have 2-week modules, it's not that we're doing any less work. We're just packaging it differently. And instead of having 16 stops and starts, we just have 8. And I found, that overall the feedback is great. One thing that students might start to struggle with a bit, but I think with a little practice and kind of getting into our routine, which we will, it'll be fine, is just realizing that you don't want to put things off when you've got, 2 weeks to do a module. And with the way this course is set up, it would be really hard to do that because I would be bugging you because we'll be doing a large project which spans the entire course instead of submitting a bunch of small assignments. And then every module, so every 2 weeks, we'll be providing feedback to one another on these projects, on pieces of them. So we'll be sharing different parts of the project that we're working on within the discussion. Where I'll give you feedback, your peers will give you feedback, and this is a wonderful way to learn. It's also a really safe space to kind of play around with things and see what other people are doing, and you get a lot of ideas by sharing your work, seeing what other people are doing, and then going back and revising. That's really what learning is all about. It's really what teaching is all about. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and jump into our course and do a little bit of a tour. So by the time you open, you go into our course in D2L, there will be an announcement here, but this is where the announcement page will go. And so I'm going to hit content. That's where I always go when I navigate courses like this. Oh, and I'm kind of laughing here. I forgot I did that. But anyway, we'll go back. So I have an overview here. Just talks a little bit about our course. I did put an FAQ section in. I don't know that I would start with this. I just put it here at the top on kind of our bar on the left so you'd be able to find it in the future. What I would do is I would start with the welcome to the class. I would look over module 1, and then once you have some context, I would just scan the FAQ as a good review, and then it's a quick one-stop shop you can pop back into if you're like, did I forget this? Did I forget that? And I'm sure there's more things that can be added to the FAQ, and as you all start asking me questions and things, I'll add them and I'll let you know. So here we go. Welcome to class. I talked a little bit about the course overview. We're going to have a semester-long project. You will not submit your project until the end of the course. Don't worry. I will be giving you plenty of feedback throughout the course on the discussion boards, and I also will send that feedback to you privately if that works better, depending upon what the feedback is. So how do we get started? Okay, I have several course materials that are down below that are really designed to set you up for success. So I've got a pre-course setup tips checklist for you, a syllabus, a course schedule, field experience guide. That's an integral part of this course. If you did not know about a field experience or you think that's going to be too much, let's get out of this course now because there's nothing I can do about it. It's required. And then I have some assessment materials and rubrics for you all. So how do you get started? So the first thing you want to do is there's just a quick getting to know you activity. And down here, this is just a private submission to me. You can go down here and you can click on it. You can read what it says. course? You want me to, what am I supposed to do? And then you can just type in the comments box for something like this if you want to. Of course, you can always upload something. This is not a graded assignment. It is required though. This is for me to get to know you, for you to ask questions, so that I can better design the course to meet your needs. Once again, that's not anything that will be shared publicly. I'm going to go back to welcome to class. Then I'm going to go down. And this talks a little bit about our project components. It talks about this course is really built on one big project, right? And it's a teacher resource kit. And so it talks about what that is. And so you're going to want to spend some time looking this over. Talks a little bit about how you can do it. And we'll keep coming back to it throughout the course. Your field experience. There's also a field experience guide. And then peer collaboration and feedback. And that's going to be happening through our asynchronous discussion boards. And we have a schedule and things like that I'll show you. So what I would do is you've got your pre-course set up right here. I would print that off. I know that might seem old school to some of you all, but I've taught a lot of online classes. I have done a lot of my graduate work in online classes, and myself and working with other students. It's hard to have everything on a screen or multiple screens. And there is a time and a place for printing things off and being able to take a pen or a pencil and check things off and take notes. And so I highly recommend that you start by printing off the course setup checklist and you go through it item by item. If you come to me and say, Dr. Stacy, I don't know what to do, I'll say, have you done the pre-course setup checklist? And then if you've done that and you still don't know, then I will help you. But that's really designed to really help you get yourself acclimated to the course and set up for success. And as part of that, print and organize the syllabus. The course overview and schedule. This one here is specifically designed to be printed off. It gives everything in more detail, talks about our discussion boards, but the really cool part is then each module, it had the exact same language that you see in D2L is right here, and there's a spot for you to take notes. So if some of you might be working or, during the day you might be on your lunch at work and you're like, oh, I'm going to have this packet, I already printed it off, and I'm going to do some reading over lunch. I'm going to take some notes. Then, I'm going to work a little bit on my project and my discussion board post when I get home, things like that. So please take advantage of these tools to help with your learning. Now let's see, I'm going to navigate back. And so, like I said, we have our field experience guide. Please spend time looking at that. So we have the self-assessment rubrics, understanding your self-assessment. This course is really set up for success as long as you are willing to keep taking feedback and revising your drafts, and you can meet the discussion board, submission deadlines and provide one another with feedback. I really have never had any students not do well in this course if they are engaged and trying, because it's all about really discovering what is this about education? Who am I as a future educator and things like that. And then there's that getting to know you activity. Okay, so this is where I would start. Now, don't worry too much. Maybe you do this on Monday or Tuesday of our course, Wednesday. Don't let it go too much longer. And then once you've done everything it says here, then go into module 1. Okay. And in module 1, it starts on Monday. It goes until September 7th. You're going to notice up here at the top that there's going to be some different due dates in each module. So it says it starts on the 23rd. That's because I wanted to open it up now. So if some of you notice over the weekend a little bit earlier it's open, you can start poking around. And I usually try to open each module on the weekend before it actually starts. So module 2, I'll try to kind of have the same rhythm for you, okay? And don't worry, I'll be in communication, so you'll know. And then this ends on the 8th at noon. Now you might be like, well, isn't that a Monday? And didn't you just say that, wouldn't that be when the next one starts also on that Monday? Well, it is, but I wanted it to be so that if you need a little bit of time on Monday morning after our 2-week module span has ended, that you have time, because honestly, I run a small business, and a lot of times on Monday mornings, I'm doing client emails and things like that. That's my full-time job. So I probably won't get to doing, any like feedback in D2L or anything until the afternoon anyway. Now, the discussion board, for example, or but it does say that things for this module are due on the 7th at 11:59 p.m. And so that's Sunday. That's just, that's when ideally I would like you to have it done. I don't want you to be pushing it until Monday morning. But on Monday, you actually won't have afternoon, after 12 o'clock, you won't be able to do any more in this module. So I just want you to know that. Here's kind of our soft ending, and then here's the time when you won't be able to get in anymore. And if you do need to get in, you can ask me. But that's just really as a kind of incentive to keep us all going here. We don't want anyone to get left behind. Another little thing I do here that's flexible is I really would like you to wrap up the discussion boards before the weekend, especially in a 2-week course. So that's why I put it's due September 5th, which is a Friday. If you don't get it done, then I'm not honestly going to grade, like I said, until Monday at noon. Just keep that in mind, okay? Yeah, so we'll go from there. And like I said, I'm not punitive about late assignments or this or that or discussion boards, as long as you keep me in the loop. If it's becoming a pattern, that's a whole nother thing, but things are going to come up. Life is going to happen. Keep me abreast. But especially with the discussion boards, be sure that you're not, if you start to lag too much behind on your part of that, whether it's posting drafts or giving one another feedback, it just really impacts everyone. This link, you can click on this right now about Bloomington. And when you go in and you read a little bit more about the field experience placements, this will make sense to you. And this form is not open right now, you can see, but I will make sure it's open on the 5th once it's been completely updated. And so if you're interested in doing a placement in Bloomington, this is where you would go to get that set up. The rest of you, if you're not interested in Bloomington, then you'll look in your field experience guide, which is in the welcome to class, and you would have printed it off. You have access to it, and that tells you exactly step by step how you go about finding your field placement and the different options for that. So I don't want to overwhelm you because we could really go deep into the weeds in the field experience thing. One thing you should know about the field experience is you don't have to have a site secured or a classroom until October 1st. However, don't wait until the last minute, because by mid-October, you need to start your placement and you need to have all 25 hours complete by December 1st. And there's some activities and things that really are just embedded within what you'll be doing in the classroom that you also read about in the field experience guide, and we'll be talking about them throughout the course and things. So don't worry, nothing's going to get dropped on you. So I think that does it. Let's just do a little bit of a recap about what is due, what you need to be doing these first 2 weeks of our course. So we got the welcome to class, which we're in right now. Please do the getting to know you activity. And you can just go right down here and click on that. I'd like to have that by September 1st. That's a quick and easy one, 3 to 5 prompts, throw it in the text box just so that I can get to know you. And if there's any questions you have or follow-up I need to do, that's a great way for me to be able to do that with you too, okay? Then you've been looking at those, you'll have downloaded all those materials and things, organized yourself. Then you'll jump into module 1. You'll be sure you've secured the textbook. That's listed in our syllabus. I would just get the e-text. It's cheapest. That's the one I use. If you want the hard copy, sure, go for it. I've got our readings for the week here, our learning objectives. This course is every module builds on the other every 2 weeks. So you keep up, you're going to do just fine. Talks about your field placement, talks about Bloomington. Then it starts to talk about, we're jumping right into our teacher resource kit, our project, right? And so here's some small steps that you're going to be taking. And within the discussion board, once we get going, I'll start to throw in some ideas too, and I'll share resources. And if people, are struggling a little bit and things, I'll jump in and help out. I don't want to ever, especially at the beginning of a class, jump in and help out too much, because I don't want to influence the direction you all are going based on my lived experience and things like that. I really want you to be able to bring that in and really shape how we do the course. So I'll be watching closely, and don't worry, I will be coaching you right alongside of you and providing the support that you need as you develop your in the first couple of weeks, your teaching philosophy statement. However, know that that's something that you're going to be drafting it now, but I bet by the end of the course, you'll be revising it. Um, you're going to be talking about your personal strengths as a future educator. You're going to set 2 to 3 specific goals for this course. You're going to talk about your reasons for choosing teaching and your classroom vision. And then reflection on how the history of teaching informs your professional identity. And once you do the reading, a lot of these questions and things, they'll start to, I think, formulate for you. So what I would do is, as I'm doing these initial readings, I would have probably my that overview document, like I said, printed off with, and I can take some notes at the bottom. I can highlight in my e-version or whatever, but start to read with thinking about the assignment in mind, right? And then you'll go ahead and the discussion board, let me see, it's not quite open yet. But it'll be open by the time you watch this video, hopefully. But what I'd like you to go ahead and do, let me see if I can get into it for you. Let me see. I'm going to stop viewing as a student, and then I should be able to see the discussion board, because once again, this is Saturday when I'm doing this, and it doesn't quite open yet. So here's discussion board 1. So by the time you watch this video, you'll be able to go in and general timelines for discussion boards in our class. So every 2-week module, by the first Wednesday, post part 1 of your draft work. And so what that means is post something of that list that we talked about that you're working on for your course project. And then by Sunday, provide feedback to at least 2 classmates, right? And so we talked down a little bit about what some of that feedback can be, and I'll also model that for you. And here it also talks about, like what would you post? It's working drafts, specific questions where you would like feedback. You could post things like that. Then, like I said, by Sunday, the feedback to at least 2 classmates. Then the next week, post another part of your draft, because you're going to be working on these sections of your course project over the course of the 2 weeks. And I would not expect that you be ready to post everything that you're working on by the first Wednesday, but I want you to get something up there. So then it's a great way for you to test things out, to get ideas from your peers and things like that. And then, like I said, week 2, post another part of your draft, or maybe it's revisions based on the feedback people gave you on part 1. And then while you're in there doing that, provide feedback to at least 2 additional classmates. And then by Friday, remember, I would really like us to kind of wrap this up. Respond to the feedback you received on your own posts that week. And so acknowledge your peers that have given you feedback. Share your thoughts on that. Share additional resources. Share like what this made you think of or how you change things, because your peers will read that, and it'll like that's how we work together and we learn from one another, and we build knowledge collectively together. Now, I will help guide you through this. Just know that this is going to be the rhythm we're going to fall into then for each of our modules. We have 8, and this is going to be the rhythm, okay? First Wednesday, do this. By the first Sunday, do this. Second Wednesday, do this. Second Friday, do this. And there'll be holidays and things that'll come in, and we're going to work it out. It's not going to be the kind of class where you're going to miss something and it's going to be anything bad is going to happen, okay? We're going to figure it out together. Now you can see all the other modules are hidden, but they'll pop up just like a miracle when it's time for that week to begin. So I think that's all I need to talk with you about now. I will be having office hours. I believe this course, it is Wednesdays from 12 to 1. I'm also available via email. It's probably going to be the quickest way to get a response from me. I also will be able to set up other times to meet with you if you need to. You just have to be patient with me, as I won't be able to do those as immediately as I might have when I was teaching full time, because I do have another job. But anyway, looking forward to teaching this class, and I'll see you soon.